Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to today's video. I was actually planning on recording this video a lot earlier on, but a little thing happened called the season changed, and now it's spring, and I'm very weak to heat. There's no AC or cooling thing in this room. There's a fan, but the fan not only doesn't work, it also it becomes the loudest object on planet Earth once it's turned on. And to avoid giving off the illusion that I live in the middle of a jet turbine, I couldn't turn it on during recording, so I just didn't bother recording. But it's a little bit cooler now, and so before it gets hotter again, might as well record this video. But regardless of my personal issues, let's move on to the topic of this video. And this particular series I'm covering today is a manga slash anime that's pretty well known. In fact, I think it won a Crunchyroll award during the awards. And that is Tonikaku Kawaii, or as the English title is, Fly Me to the Moon. And I'm going to be talking more about the manga. I'm going to be basing this review more or like recommendation thing or bobber, whatever this YouTube video series I do is not at all clear what I'm actually doing. But I'm going to be talking more about the manga. However, the anime didn't actually stray all that far off from the manga, so there's not that much of a difference between the two of them. But just for clarification, in case I say something that doesn't add up with the anime for whatever reason, it's because I'm probably going to be talking more about the manga for the third time, me saying. Now, I'm going to give a very brief explanation of what the series is for all those people who don't know what the series is about somehow. For some reason, you clicked on this video. Tonikaku Kawaii is about, it follows our protagonist who starts off as a middle school going to high school by the name of Nasa Yuzaki. And his parents gave him that name, and obviously he was like ridiculed and kind of laughed at because his name was Nasa, which is a very unusual name. And so he decided that he's going to be better than NASA. And he studied super hard, and was going to go into one of the most prestigious schools in Japan, or whatever, high schools. And on the day of his inauguration, or whatever, he sees a girl across the street. He falls in love with her at first sight. And then he almost dies. The girl saves him. And when he's like dying of blood loss, he confesses his love to her, and she says, "I'll only go out with you if you marry me." He says yes without any hesitation, and he falls into a coma. He wakes up, no sign of the girl. Years go by. He's 18 now, and the girl shows up at his door to cash in on that promise. The girl's name is, of course, Tsukasa. Tsukasa? Tsukasa, I wrote her last name down. Tsukuyomi. I had to write it down because that name is quickly forgotten because they get married, and she quickly becomes Tsukasa Yuzaki as well. And hey, I think that concludes the fastest and most brief summary I've given on any series since the founding of this channel. And that's due to the fact that the story just hands it to you that simply. Insert protagonist, insert love interest, insert attraction, and then start the relationship, and then ready, set, go. We're off to the races. And one thing I like to mention before I get into all the other stuff. I was following this manga before the anime was announced. And then when I saw that it was getting an anime adaptation, my testicles imploded because I was so fucking excited about this series. Because I loved it. And it's very, very up there on my rankings. I don't really do rankings, but it has a pretty high evaluation in my book. And hey, that's just the mass majority's opinion as well, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah. I do believe that the Crunchyroll award that this one won was Best Couple, and I may be horribly mistaken on that part, but I don't think so. And I do believe that this is well well deserved because the author does a pretty interesting job at mixing two very different stages of one relationship into one stage. And that's because Tsukasa and Nasa are married. They're newlywed. However, at the same time, they skip dating because that's what happens in the real world, and went straight to being married. So they're also experiencing being boyfriend and girlfriend for the first time, like an actual couple, and they're also each other's first significant other, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they're getting used to physical intimacy and each other's boundaries and each other's interest and etc. and whatnot, as well as the fact they're also a newlywed couple, and so they're also getting used to living together, cooking for each other, overcoming obstacles together. I don't think the anime's actually got into really any of the obstacles, but I might be mistaken. But it definitely goes into more obstacles in the manga because it's further ahead in the story, obviously. And so yeah, he integrates the two like very different stages of a relationship all into one stage pretty seamlessly. And hey, he deserves an award for that. Oh wait, I guess he already did get an award for that. What do you know? One particular interesting thing about the series is like the whole like mystery element regarding Tsukasa, because you don't actually know anything about her when she gets introduced. The main character falls in love with her, and he doesn't even get her name before he confesses, and he doesn't get a name before like they become engaged. And then you do learn her name, and then the more you learn about her, the more you realize that she is more mysterious than you initially thought. But regardless of whatever she turns out to be and whatever her past is, she will be cute regardless, as our main character keeps on liking to say. She'll be cute anyways, henceforth the manga title. If I did have one complaint about the anime, it'd be the fact that well, two complaints, and really like minor nitpicky complaints. When I read the story, this happens a lot of the time whenever you're reading a book. You'll find, or any sort of like reading material, you'll like make voices up for the characters, and because of the much like softer art style the manga has and the anime has, I expected Nasa's voice to be like boyish, but that wasn't the case when the anime came out. His voice actor is quite like has a quite masculine voice. So that kind of threw me in for a loop, but it wasn't really bad. It wasn't like an awful thing. It was just kind of something that threw me in, took me on a ride, surprised me a little, but it wasn't a bad thing. Just something that kind of surprised me and shocked me. Oh no. And another complaint I had, and this is actually kind of a complaint, but not a big one at all. I think the manga did a better job articulating Tsukasa's like swing between her icy coldness, which she normally has, and her cute excitability and overall cuteness, because there is like a big difference between the two in the manga. Her usually being kind of icy, and then her being, you know, cute and adorable, talking about movies and such. I do believe the manga did a better job at showing that and portraying that, and that's just a little nitpicky thing I thought I should point out. There are like steamy moments where they get like, you know, a little bit hot and heavy. That this isn't at all the main focus of the series, and if you're looking for tits and ass in every panel of this series, then look somewhere else because you're not going to get it here. And that's not really what you should be looking for here. But there are hot and heavy moments where they do get a little kissy and get a little feely, and hey, that's what happens when you're in a relationship with someone. I wouldn't know, but that's typically the norm, and it's inevitable, and it happens in the manga as well. And one thing I do like to see that I didn't really expect initially, but a pleasant surprise, is that NASA does show initiative and assertiveness during these moments. He'd be like, "Hey, feely," and she's like, "Oh, okay, fine." So it's nice to see that he does have a backbone to him during these moments, because typically MCs shy away from that kind of interaction, but he doesn't really. In fact, he encourages it. So hey, points for that, big guy. Did I mention the comedy? The comedy is very solid. If you like this type of comedy, that is. Comedy is very subjective, but I do believe that it hits the nail on the head for when it counts. And this is the same author as a series that some of you may know, Hayate the Combat Builder. They're the same author. And so there's, of course, going to be a lot of anime references, like there was in Hayate the Combat Builder. I don't think the anime had many anime references, but there are plenty of references in the manga. And depending on how anime savvy you are, you may pick up on most of them, you may not. Who knows? That depends solely on you, pal. But it's just a funny little Easter egg thing, not really important to the story. Just a little fun little comedy thing. But I think that's all I have to say about it. I might be missing something, but who knows? Either way, it's a really, really good series. I do recommend you check it out. The anime or the manga, they're both fantastic. I do prefer the manga, but hey, that's just my thing. But the anime's not bad at all. Don't get me wrong, the anime is very good. So I'd recommend you check either or preferably both out. The series is a must-watch if you're into the whole romantic comedy scene, like I am. Hey. But yeah, I think that's going to conclude it for today's video. Do comment if you have anything you wanted to say about the series as well. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the other YouTube stuff that you probably know more so than I do. And yeah, that's going to do it for today. And yeah, farewell.